All right, so we got some big news coming out of Washington, D.C. A huge arrest was just made, and the media definitely does not want you to know about this one. Also, we got a huge announcement from the FBI as to the arrest that they have been making. Many people have no idea what's even going on. So I'm here to give you a huge update as to what is going on. Make sure to smash the like button. These are very serious topics and very dear to my heart, but we got to be extremely careful the way we talk about them on YouTube, because YouTube loves to give strikes for speaking of stuff like this. But it is apparent, and the United States Attorney, Judge Jeanine Piro, obviously she was upgraded from there. She went, got sworn in. She's been doing a heck of a job since she's been in there. But apparently, there was an arrest made, and it's a shocking one because it ties to the media and the Washington Post. So we got to talk about that. We also got to talk about the Supreme Court's 6-3 ruling on the federal district courts and nationwide injunctions. That's a huge topic. Trump has been winning a lot. There's been a lot of wins, and there's been a lot of ceasefires. And Rwanda and Congo were literally just at the White House. A war that has been going on for 20 years there may have just been found that Trump might have been the middleman to stop it from happening. So Rwanda and Congo, and there is a lot of stuff going on in the White House today. And then we also got to talk about birthright citizenship. A lot of foundational Black Americans are celebrating this because they finally feel that there's a president that sees the lineage of what it actually meant in the 14th Amendment, or what that actually meant of being a birthright citizen. So we got a lot to talk about. I want to start there. I also want to know exactly where you guys are watching from. Yeah, that's a lot of good news. This one is one of the best news I've heard so far. So, but it's a little disturbing. So here we go. So apparently, the U.S. Attorney's Office, Judge Jeanine Piro, apparently, Washington Post editor Thomas LeGros has just been. This is the Washington. Yeah, the Washington Post has just been arrested for possessing child, you know what? I don't even want to say that out because it's going to make the algorithm kind of shift this video around. But child, you know what? So that means he had some very evil things in his laptop. U.S. Attorney Judge Jeanine Piro says LeGros' work laptop contained 11 videos of depicting child abuse material, right? What a shock to absolutely nobody. But again, who's going to report on this? Look around. You ain't going to see CNN reporting on this. And guess what? The biggest part about this story, which is just unbelievable, is that this man is a award-winning journalist from the Washington Post. He was arrested and now charged with possession of child you know what on his laptop. There was a press release that came out, and this man is an award-winning, which just also lets me know exactly what we all have known about the media, Hollywood, and everything put together. These people are always in cahoots with each other, and it's always, it always gets very, very nasty. So again, and also, like a lot of people won't ever speak on this, but I would, because we spoke about the Sound of Freedom in 2023. We got a whole bunch of strikes for that. But we were talking about, what was going on at the border, what was going on with the trafficking. And apparently, Dan Bongino, who in my opinion is becoming underrated because a lot of people, he's not online all the time speaking of his work. But there was an announcement from him and the FBI that 825 child predators and 140 human traffickers have now been arrested. And if you're preying on our women, on our children, says Dan Bongino, we are coming for you, and it is only a matter of time. So there's been about 125 plus arrests. There was a whole bunch of arrests that happened in Texas. But again, I feel that there's been a lot of people that just have not been putting this out there the way that we're supposed to, right? The way that we're supposed to treat this. And look, people are out here calling for public execution of this LeGros guy who is an award-winning journalist, right? Anybody that gets caught doing this stuff, in my opinion, I don't know what should be the consequences, because I know exactly what I would want to be the consequences, but I don't think I could say it on YouTube because these people are sick people. But these are the people that exist, and we've been talking about this on this channel for some time now. So I'm glad that things like this are coming out and we can make it breaking news. So shout out to Judge Jeanine for making this arrest. This is an award-winning journalist. How many people are going to talk about this on the liberal mainstream side? I don't think any of them. They don't want one of their own to get cooked. But that's some of the exposure that we've been talking about. So make sure to smash the like button if you haven't yet. Share this live stream. That's a huge arrest that just happened moments ago. And again, Trump getting huge wins today. Huge wins. For some reason, today felt like a magical day. I don't know if you guys got that feeling, but it just felt like a magical day. Like a lot of things are coming together. All right, when it comes to the wars, when it comes to peace, when it comes to everything else, it looks like things are dwindling down. We had a heavy week in the last 2 weeks where a lot of people were turning on each other. A lot of people have different opinions, including me. And I took accountability for my stance, and I know where my stance came from. So there's a lot of things coming on, but it just seems that many other things are coming true. So it's the Supreme Court. I want to read this report here. The Supreme Court rules that 6-3. By the way, this thing gets even crazier because Amy Coney Roberts. Hold on, give me 1 second here, guys. Yeah, Barrett. I don't know why I said Roberts. Barrett. But yeah, so she basically came out, and for the first time, this is why I said today felt like a magical day. For the first time, she, who was elected by Trump, is finally doing something on behalf of Trump. Is this what's going on here? Well, let's actually read. So the nationwide injunctions are over. So district courts can no longer issue national injunctions to affect everyone. This is the only issue. Injunctions affecting the plaintiffs before them. This is the issue. So again, this is all and everything, how it's tied in, the paperwork and how it goes. But here's the mainstream media. The mainstream media's reactions to this, because shocked and dismayed, the liberal wing of the U.S. Supreme Court is alarmed that after 6 justices led by Amy Coney Barrett ended the activist judge power trip of the nationwide injunctions. One of the most worried is Ketanji Brown Jackson. We knew that she would be one of the ones that would be worried about this. Take a listen.
Hi there, everyone. Happy Friday. It's 4 o'clock in the East. Quote, an existential threat to the rule of law. Rarely has the liberal wing of the United States Supreme Court sounded as alarmed about the direction of the country and the court as it does right now. The justices referring to the decision handed down today by the Supreme Court in the birthright citizenship case. In a 6-3 ruling, the Supreme Court curbed the ability of lower court judges to issue nationwide injunctions. Now, those are basically rulings that stop things, illegal things, rulings that block policies from going into place nationwide. Supreme Court Justice Amy Coney Barrett, writing for the conservative majority, said that nationwide injunctions are an overreach of judicial power. And she writes this, quote, when a court concludes that the executive...
Yo, this is a shocking turn of events. Because of her trajectory and where many people kind of wrote her off to be a failure as a Trump appointee. But, you know, the fact that, yeah, many people are shocked at the fact that she took this stance. I'm going to be honest. I did want to read a comment. I wanted to read a comment here. Yeah. So judges do not get to run America's policies. The president and Congress does that. So it did feel like that. MSNBC is shook about what just happened. Let's see. Is she waking up? Finally, justice from the Supreme Court. This justice took long, but it's justified. Yeah. So let's keep reading this out.
Branch has acted unlawfully. The answer is not for the court to exceed its power too. Now, the judges didn't rule on the substance of all this. They didn't render a decision on the merits of Donald Trump's decision to end birthright citizenship for the children of undocumented immigrants. Instead, what the court did today was to rule on the process piece of this. They ruled that judges can only issue decisions or rulings that deliver relief for the group of people involved, for the people who sued, the plaintiffs, and that they could not block that policy from going into effect nationwide for anyone else who might be affected by the policy. Here's how Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson puts it, quote, the court's decision to permit the executive to violate the Constitution with respect to anyone who has not yet sued is an existential threat to the rule of law. It is important to recognize that the executive's bid to vanquish so-called universal injunctions is at bottom a request for this court's permission to engage in unlawful behavior.
Yo, what?
Behavior. It is worth noting nationwide injunctions have been imposed to stop policies from pretty.
Yeah, duh. They've been imposed by none of the, like every actual liberal judge that has tried to take advantage of this. But she's sick to her stomach that, you know, Amy Coney Barrett actually took the stance that she took, you know, in a 6-3 ruling. Yeah, so that was actually huge news, man. Huge news. You know, and I wanted to talk about some of Trump's accomplishments as well. But here he is. He was basically, you know, speaking on, you know, the Supreme Court's ruling as well. Clearly explains how birthright citizenship and the 14th Amendment was meant for the babies of slaves, meaning foundational Black Americans. A lot of again, I told you guys there's a huge separation happening in the Democratic Party. There's a lot of Black Americans that are very proud, you know, to be American. And there's, you know, those Black Americans that are not really proud because they don't like America, I guess. But apparently a lot of Black Americans and a lot of Americans, period, are celebrating that this is the case. Take a listen.
We can now promptly file to proceed with numerous policies that have been wrongly enjoined on a nationwide basis. And some of the cases we're talking about would be ending birthright citizenship, which now comes to the fore. That was meant for the babies of slaves. It wasn't meant for people trying to scam the system and come into the country on a vacation. This was, in fact, it was the same date, the exact same date, the end of the Civil War. It was.
Wow. So Trump comes out and he says that this is meant for the babies of slaves, right? And that it wasn't meant for people to scam the system, to come over across the border, have a baby here so they could become an automatic, you know, U.S. citizen. That's what Trump is saying. He's saying that this system has become overran, you know, but a lot of liberals have a lot of different arguments against this. This is actually the internet. And the country seems to be in an uproar about this specific, you know, birthright citizenship conversation. They feel, you know, a lot of them are all coming at Melania Trump. They're coming at, the fact that we're all immigrants, which is not a lie. The problem is, when do you enforce this, and when and how and why would you enforce this would be the question. And many people they're going after Trump's family. They're going after Melania Trump. They're going after a whole bunch of different people that would agree with this. But scamming the system is Trump's stance on this. And again, there's a lot of people celebrating this, and there's a lot of people that think this is the worst possible thing. Ketanji Jackson is another one that would suggest that this is a grave threat to democracy. But Trump comes out and he says injunctions are a grave threat to democracy. So again, huge ruling in a huge week. Again, we've spoken about, and by the way, thank you guys for being here. I appreciate y'all for being here. Thank you so much. So here's the huge week, right? We just kind of went through a whole motion of what happened tonight, what happened this morning and throughout the night. So breaking, Donald Trump announces from the Oval Office, because he was asked a question about him not getting enough credit for what a huge week and month it has been. And this is him, and you know, this is the peace that he has brokered. Again, I told you guys between the Republic of Congo and Rwanda as well when he was in the Oval Office. But take a listen to this.
In a few short months, we've now achieved peace between India and Pakistan, Israel and Iran, and the DRC and Rwanda, and a couple of others also. Serbia, you know, they were getting ready to go to war with a group I won't even mention because it didn't happen. We were able to stop it, but I have a friend in Serbia, and they said we're going to go to war again. and I won't mention that it's Kosovo, but it's Kosovo. But they were going to have a big time war, and we stopped it. We stopped it because of trade. They want to trade with the United States. I said, we don't trade with people that go to war. And we said that also with, if you take a look at Pakistan and India, it was great. They have two great leaders, and they were able to stop. They were in the midst of a big fight. I guess everybody saw, and it was going to get very bad. And they are nuclear nations, very powerful nuclear nations.
We don't, what do you say? That was probably one of the best lines. We don't do trade deals with countries that go to war. Bars. Yeah, those are bars, man. We don't go to war with countries that go to war. I mean, we don't do trade deals with countries that go to war. That's what Trump said. So I'm not gonna lie. That was bars. But we do trade with Israel, somebody said in the comments. So people are not really happy with Israel still. They felt like they tried to drag Trump into a war, and Trump had to handle it the best way he could. So I respect your stance. JJ, I definitely respect your stance on this. But speaking of Israel, apparently we have some huge news about Israel, right? The Gaza war, right? Because we know that there is a ceasefire in effect between Iran and Israel right now. That's when Trump got pissed off that Israel ended up taking advantage of the 6-hour window to stop firing. They ended up firing more, Iran as well. And Trump ended up saying we have two countries that don't know what the F they're doing. It was an iconic moment that's going to go down in the history books. I know when I'm an older man, I'm going to let everybody know that I saw that, and I was able to live through that time when Trump literally said that these countries don't know what the F they're doing because they keep bombing each other. So apparently reports are that Trump and Bibi Netanyahu, the prime minister of Israel, have agreed to a deal that includes an end to the Gaza war in 2 weeks. Gaza to be governed by 4 neighboring countries, Hamas leaders to be exiled, two-state solution agreed by Israel, and several new countries to join the AAN recognize Israel. Huge if it is true, but apparently it is. So here is some of more information here. Apparently, President Trump has convinced Bibi Netanyahu to end the war in Gaza within 2 weeks. Per multiple reports, the peace president never stops. They've agreed that the UAE, Egypt, and 2 other Arab states will govern Gaza jointly. Hamas leaders would be exiled and hostages be released. In addition, Saudi Arabia, Syria would establish diplomatic ties to Israel. This will be great if he can pull this off. So, but it does look like that could be the case, that he could maybe pull this off, and that would be actually huge. And again, we saw Trump just be pissed off at the fact that these two countries couldn't stop bombing each other. So, hey, that's a huge step in the right direction if he does that, because I think he's already done a lot. But man, that'd just be unbelievable news in my opinion. The last clip I want to show y'all, and again, smash the like button if you haven't. Thank y'all for being here, as I always say, live from New York City. Hopefully the connection is good. This one is a hilarious clip because I feel, and this is what I've always told y'all, the media loves Trump, even if they claim to hate him and always barrage him with the worst. But they know that this dude, Trump, is a once-in-a-lifetime figure in politics. They've kind of waited for a figure like this because they know how much money he would bring, or they know how much it would mean for them. So anyways, here's proof of this, because look at the way they react. The whole room reacts when he asked them this one question. Take a listen.
By the way, so many questions. Should we keep this going, Pam?
Okay, so I want to bring it back one more time. We got to replay that. He asked, okay, should we keep going? And look at the way they all jumped and started screaming, yes, 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 yes. It's like kids. And the other day, what was it, at the summit, that what leader called him daddy? Somebody called him daddy. Like, that's crazy.
By the way, so many questions. Should we keep this going, Pam? This is the opposite of Biden. Biden would take a half a question and he'd leave without answering it. Go ahead. You tell me when it gets boring. Okay.
Everybody raising their hands. I don't know how to explain this. I don't know how to explain this scenery. I'm gonna be honest with y'all, but this is what little kids would look like if the cool teacher would be, at the spot. Like they're all so excited to ask him a question, or they're all so excited that he's there. Because there would be a huge difference between, him and Joe Biden. That's basically what he was saying. So again, there's still a lot of news I probably didn't get to, but man, I got to tell y'all, there's a lot going on. There is a lot going on, but definitely a huge week, a huge end to the week for Trump supporters or anybody that voted for Trump. And again, things look like they were going to go crazy. Just last week, it looked like we were about to go into World War III. If, things would have gone the way that many people, including me, thought. But I guess that's what peace through strength looks like. We bombed the shit out of you to show you that we don't want to go to war with you, because we're showing you what we can do to you. And we really don't want to do that, but we will if we have to. And I ain't gonna lie to y'all. It's probably one of the best techniques that we probably seen. So, yeah. Somebody said, what is this two-state solution? So a two-state solution would be a recognition of states. A solution would be, obviously bordering, but also recognizing, and that would be a two-state solution. So Palestine would be an actual state. And of course, Israel will be recognized as well. I'm guessing that that's probably what's going to be written up, but if that's what is necessary for peace, then I'm going to be honest with y'all. If that's what peace looks like, and again, you make peace with your enemies, not your friends. Because if you're making peace with friends, then they were never your friends to begin with. So I always tell people, peace is so rough because you're making peace with people that hate you. And enemies in this case would be people that would want to take your life or destroy you, destroy your country. But you have to make peace with them. And that's a very hard thing to do. So many people say they are pro-peace, but they don't understand what it actually takes to make peace, and who you're making peace with is actually the hardest part, because, that's just my opinion, but that's kind of what I've gathered from my 28 years of living, soon to be 29. So, somebody said a two-state solution goes against Christ's wishes. That's just such a rough comment to read. And I hate that I even read that. But yeah, Christ just wants peace. He wants people to live and stop dying. That's what Christ wants. Christ also wants you to recognize him as a savior, which the state of Israel does not. So I don't know where your pro-Israel comes from. You're so pro-Israel, but I just think that you are brainwashed, in my opinion. Have you ever been to Corpus Christi? I've never been to Corpus Christi. Never been there. I live outside of Houston. That's where I live. So can't tell you exactly where, but yeah, I live outside of Houston. All right. Love y'all. Y'all know what's up. Somebody said award-winning journalist will claim it was work-related. No, I don't think so. I don't think there is, I don't know. I don't think there's a way around that arrest. That's actually, and the fact that, look, let's be honest, right? Let's go back to the main story of this. The fact that this guy is like an award-winning journalist from the Washington Post just goes to prove some of what our thoughts even are about a lot of these people that work in these industries, right? That are usually the number one criticizers, or they're usually the number one criticizers of, they're usually liberal, they're usually very progressive. But those be the ones with the most stuff in their closet, right? The most skeletons in their closet. And they usually take that wide turn and they try to destroy people's careers. And then they always end up to be this type of person, which just is so wild. So yeah, the U.S. Attorney's Office, the U.S. Attorney of D.C., Judge Jeanine Piro and stuff like that. You guys can go follow her. She posted this on her X account. You know what I mean? So she's been posting a lot. By the way, she's been getting a lot done. Don't know if you guys know, but three district men sentenced for drug trafficking in Trinidad neighborhood of Northeast Washington. So they're posting arrest after arrest after arrest. So they're doing work. It's just, we got to pay attention. You got to pay attention. The U.S. Attorney is doing a lot of work. They're announcing everything that they're getting done. And this is what it looks like. So yeah. Appreciate everybody coming through. Make sure to smash the like button. Thank you so much. But still no Epstein list. I've kind of given up on that. I'm gonna be honest with you. I think if you're very smart, if you're very bright, you understand what's going on, you know why that's not coming out. And I've kind of asked myself, is it worth it? Is it worth it for me to continue to persuade this? Yes, of course it is. Why is it not coming out? Is it worth it for me to say it constantly over and over and over? I don't think it's worth it, because at the end of the day, if you don't know why they're not coming out, then I just don't know what else to say. Because the moment that we start speaking about the fact that it's not coming out, and I think this is why, people start losing their minds. Somebody said, so you're just grifting? No, I've lost a lot of followers. I lose followers on a daily because of my stance on why I think, or my stance on Israel, or what I think about Bibi Netanyahu. A lot of you guys start losing your minds. A lot of people start losing their minds. Look at the way you guys treat, not you guys. Look at the way many conservatives have turned on Tucker Carlson for calling out Israel and how he feels about Israel, right? And I think that the Epstein file is very tied to the Mossad. It's tied to Israel. It's tied to their government. It's tied to a blackmail operation that links. But the moment I start talking bad about Israel, people start freaking out. So I just don't talk about it anymore, because you guys know my stance already. If you don't know my stance, well, let me refresh your mind. So don't say I'm grifting, because I've already lost a lot of followers. And this might be what's so funny about you saying that comment. This has got to be your first time on this channel. I've been talking about stuff like this for a very long time, and my audience kind of have to grow again, because you just don't know me. You don't know what I am. Look, you get people like this. You get people like this. You haven't done one video on the mayoral race in New York City. You're a Muslim apologist. This person hasn't seen my YouTube channel. Again, we go back to LV Nation, and you go to the live streams, the most recent live streams that I've done. Trump just exposed what no one knew about radical socialist Muslim in New York City 1 day ago. 1 day ago. We also spoke about him last night on the live stream that I did 1 day ago. So you don't know what you're talking about. You're not watching my channel. You're coming in here and you're saying dumb stuff. You have no idea. We've been talking about Zoran Mamdani on this channel. We've been talking about how he's a communist, how he's not a real Muslim. And what the hell does a Muslim apologist mean? I don't know what that means. Are you a Jewish apologist? That also pisses me off, because last time I checked, Muslims don't run as many banks. Muslims don't run the entire music industry. Muslims don't own many of the buildings in New York City. So are you a Jewish apologist? Like, what does being Muslim apologist even mean? Again, what you're saying makes absolutely no sense. Like, have the same energy for every other religion. Why do you keep always coming at Muslims like they're the biggest problem? Like, what? Like, what are you saying? That's what, like, we could talk. Yeah, you don't like Sharia law? Me either. You don't like Muslims? Cool. I'm not a Muslim. I'm a Christian. But to sit here and constantly come at Muslims, and you don't have that same energy for another religion that actually does not believe in Jesus Christ, but you love them so much, I think that's sickening to me. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. That's why I don't talk about religion on this channel, because it pisses me off that people are just mentally ill to the point that they only see Muslim as bad, but can't see any other religion and their badness. It's like, what? It's like, what are you saying? What are you saying? You know what I mean? So I'm not a Muslim apologist. I'm not a Muslim at all. But I also don't think that this Zoran guy is a Muslim, a true Muslim, because he's not conservative Muslim. He's some type of Bolshevik figure. This guy isn't a real Muslim. Real Muslims don't behave that way. He's gay. Like, he's not gay, but like, he's pro LGBTQ. He's pro giving kids medication and doing all this stuff. Muslims that I know, they're not that. Muslims are some of the most conservative people I know. I know they're not that. But I'm also not a Muslim. I also don't believe that Muslims or America becoming more Islamic is a good thing. I don't think so. That's not my thing. That's not my stance. I think we should stay and continue to be a Christian majority. The moment that we lose that, we lose the country. I don't want that. So that's my stance. But stop with the, the whole like, you're a Muslim apologist, bro. You're a Jewish apologist. you're a Hindu apologist. Because I could just start throwing mad religious sentiments at you. So yeah, that's my stance. Why are they crawling around the streets? It makes you think. Yeah, it does make you think. I saw. Yes, I saw this. This is another thing conservatives aren't talking about. Have you heard of the pastor that was crucified in Arizona by a curious character who had listed 14 pastors? Yes. Wow. You might be the first conservative to talk about what happened. Oh my God. Because I saw this story. And again, why aren't you talking about it, Lou? I can't. The moment you start to bring up anything about that story right there, your channel would be out of here tomorrow. Somebody said, this is clickbait. There was no arrest made. Brother, you are 31 minutes late into this live stream. I don't understand. Your IQ is very low. You should you should practice more in life. You have not heard about that? Okay, I'll tell you about this. Because, and this dude is not Muslim, by the way. The guy, he tried to basically, how can I break this story down? He is not Muslim. He is Jewish. He had 14 pastors on his list to crucify for the state of Israel, if I'm not mistaken. So whatever. But nobody cares about that because that's not going to fit the narrative. What was I going to say? Yeah, Zoran will be a disaster for New York City. Again, what is it like? People get really turned. They start like going so hard. She arrested this guy, Washington Post editor Thomas LeGros. He's an award-winning journalist that got caught with child on his laptop, and he was arrested. And this is becoming a huge thing because of who he is and how he's an award-winning journalist for the Washington Post. So Revelations 3:9, Texas has a storms and rains. Yeah. Well, we kind of see what too much liberalism gets you. You are on a roll. The guy blacks out for 2 minutes on being because I think you're an apologist too. You can think I'm an apologist, but you got like that mentality is so cooked. It's so crazy to me because I just think that we've, as a country, like as conservatives, like if you're a conservative, if you're a Republican, I worry that a lot of people in that stance, they're just not real, bro. Like you bring up another religion, you bring up this, you bring up that, and it's just like, because the Muslim integration is a very loud one, it becomes unacceptable. But the very low end of it, it becomes acceptable because it's more, I guess, let's go with a better word of, the integration is less likely to be seen. But when you start to look around, and I think that's what exposed itself, and I think Trump kind of doesn't stand that way because of the fact that he cursed at them, or the government, or Bibi, is you're just mad of how the integration looks, but you ain't mad for real. Huh? Am I wrong on that? The integration of Islam is a very loud one, but the integration of, let's just go with other religions, will probably, I don't know. I don't want to get kicked off YouTube, but yeah. You know what I mean? But when you look around, you look at your government, and you look at the fact that there are Muslim leaders elected, but then you also look like they're like, they're Jewish leaders elected, and then you start to realize that a lot of the like Mark Levins of the world, they will, and Ben Shapiro's of the world, even though Ben Shapiro's not elected, but like let's go with Randy Fine, an elected official. You start to realize that their stances, they would always pick Israel before the United States of America. But yet their integration is a very calm and low one. They're not trying to get you to become Jewish. They're not trying to get you to become of that religion. Islam is. So that's the difference. But it's still both the same. They're both not Christianity, is what I'm trying to say. So if you're going to tell me that, oh, we should be against this, then I think you should be against any religion that's not Christianity. Like if there's somebody in the government that is not a Christian, then you should have a problem with that. That's my opinion. I don't think that it's just Islam, because I think, of course, Islam is a very loud thing. They pray, they go to mosque, and their goal is to kind of, West, they want to spread it through the West, But yeah, I just think that people just, they're two-faced when it comes to that open conversation. It's like the United States of America, you have a problem with Islam, but yet you look at your bankers, you look around at the building owners, you look around at a lot of your congressmen and women, you look at, the lobbying that goes on, and you just don't have a problem with that. So I just like, okay, cool. That's my opinion. And that belongs to the. That's my opinion. All right, I love y'all. I probably lost like another 100 subscribers. F it.